My name is Michelle Penney, and I am an alumni of the Almond Leadership Program from 2017. I currently work for Rio Nut Company as the food safety coordinator, but I did not start my adult career in agriculture at all. I went to Fresno State and graduated with a liberal studies degree. After that, I worked for 1 year in retail, which quickly got me back into continuing my education, and I got my teaching credential. So after that, I taught for 5 years elementary school, and I did 4th and 5th grade, and I really loved my students. I loved teaching, but after 5 years, I could see that long-term that was not the best option for me. And I knew we wanted to grow our family, but I just didn't feel like that was the right fit. When I knew that I wasn't going to be teaching, I didn't know what I was going to do. And at that time, my dad was like, food safety is really ramping up in the almond industry, and we could really use somebody with fresh perspective. So I started working at Rio Nut Company and took on the role of food safety coordinator, but I had a lot to learn. My first job was on the receiving team, and I did all the probing and fumigating of all the bins coming in, and I actually maintained that job for about 7 years. As of today, I do a little bit of everything from grower relations to food safety, but formally, I'm the food safety coordinator. My family immigrated from Armenia about 110 years ago and started farming in Livingston, California. And we've done a little bit of everything, but we used to have a raisin packing facility back in the day, like 1950s. But since then the generations moved on and popularity of crops have changed. We always had an almond sheller, so that is something that we've built up a little bit. But as my dad continues to run the farming operation with my cousin, he realized that we are hulling and shelling almonds for growers and sending them out to other handlers, but we could do that ourselves. So that's in 1987, my dad started Rio Nut Company. So that's when we started doing our own packing and exporting. But we still farm today. We farm grapes and almonds, and so it kind of helps us be vertically integrated. But as a employee coming in needing to learn about the industry, it was really great to be able to see the whole process from the tree going into the ground all the way through packed product being shipped out in a shipping container. Leadership is always something that I've been interested in from junior high, high school on. I've always liked to be in clubs and sports and things like that. So I knew that the way that I was going to learn the best was to get involved with some sort of organization. But the first year that I started at Del Rio, I didn't know anything. So I felt like I should hold off a year before I apply for this program that I'd been hearing about, because I wanted to at least have a basic understanding of the almond industry before I went in. And I think that was the best thing that I did. Joining the Almond Leadership Program was one of the most memorable experiences, not just for me professionally, but also socially. It really just helped form that community that helped me become comfortable in the industry, at industry events, and networking. I didn't know anything. So now I have all these people I can call anytime I have a question or something comes up. So that's primarily why I wanted to join, was to kind of learn more about the industry, but also meet people. Of all the things that we did, which every time we met, I felt like it was memorable for one reason or another. But the thing that I have two specific instances. One was going to virtual nursery and learning about the budding process and the grafting process. I did not understand how much work went into one tiny tree prior to planting before the grower even gets it. The second one was we went to the USDA in Albany, and we toured this facility where they had people who were renting spaces basically to try out new things. And there was a gentleman named Bill Orts who led us around, and he showed us a piece of plastic and said, "Oh, this is made from almond shells." And when he held up this piece of plastic, I thought, is that drip line? It was kind of like a tube looking thing from where I was standing. And so that very instance of him holding that up became my project. And I went back and worked with them at the facility, stayed all day, learned about all the different steps, but they were basically torrefying or burning almond shells and adding them to pure resin. And it was including the tensile strength and the melting temperature. So it was really interesting to sit in on some of the conference calls, to go into the lab, to see they had built their own torrefaction machine, like super rudimentary. But to see like the beginning of all that happen, and all the projects that are being worked on at that facility are funded by the support of different organizations like the Almond Board. That was a really life-changing experience for me, not just getting my project going, but also just learning there are places like this that just look for people to tell them what to do and what we want to see. It was so interesting. So that was one of my most memorable experiences. My favorite is actually harvest, when it's just utter chaos, but everything is kind of working like a well-oiled machine. So people are harvesting, we're receiving. I do a lot of the dispatch for our sheller, but I also do it for us picking up at other shellers throughout the state. So the receiving, the quality is coming in, we're getting to size it and see, it's the opportunity to actually see the crop and work with it. And then, like I said, all facets of our own facility are up and running, and to see how they all work together is it's really fun and makes the day go by really quick. My husband and I have 2 children. Madison is 3.5 and Jack is 3 months. And Madison this year started preschool, so she's all into anything with her friends. She's very quickly made friends and enjoys talking about them. But we live on a small almond farm, and so her favorite thing is actually to take the dogs into the orchard. And she's learned, about the almond cycle. So she loves to go out there and teach us about bees and how they're pollinating. And then when the almonds grow, about the different parts of the almonds. So she's quickly becoming a almond aficionado. You know how they have like all the different flavored almonds that are like the powdery kind? And this is very controversial, but I really love peanut butter. So if I could make a different flavor of almond, I would do a peanut butter flavored almond. That's what I would do. It's just, peanut butter is so good, but peanuts are just not as healthy. So if we could just marry the two, I think we'd be good.